Excellency Governor Rameshwar Thakur, Shri Prabhu, Advisor to Governor, Shri Krishna Kumar, Advisor to Governor, Shri Sudhakar Rao, Chief Secretary, Shri Sajan Puaya, Chairman FICCI Karnataka, Dr. Amit Mitra, Secretary General FICCI, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to this FICCI interactive session on the vision for a Suvarna Karnataka organized by FICCI Karnataka. Let me join Amit in thanking His Excellency the Governor for being here today and for allowing us to have this function at the Raj Bhavan. Let me also add as a citizen of Bangalore that he has, in the short stint that he has had as a head of administration of our state, already taken many decisions that needed to be taken to address some of the crying problems of our state and our city, and has proved that if there is a will in the administration, progress can be made. Thank you, sir. This was, as some of you know, originally intended to be a discussion on the Karnataka budget 2008, and it turned out that the elections were around the corner, so it was decided to broad-base the topic into a broader discussion. With yesterday's announcement of imminent elections, it's even clearer that in the next 45 days, a new popular government will be governing our state. But there is one downside to that announcement yesterday. I am to inform you that the governor will not be speaking today, given that the code of conduct is in force, and will observe the proceedings today and obviously, hopefully, take note of what we say. Thank you, sir, anyway, for making it here this evening. As you are aware, it's almost election season in Delhi as well, and what FICCI has set out to do in this election season is to work with various political parties to evolve a common minimum economic agenda. This initiative by the FICCI is driven by a belief that in this age of coalition politics, there tends to be a lot of opposition to good ideas and policies for simply the sake of creating political space. And we ought to really ring-fence these good core economic principles that will deliver growth over the next decade from this form of political obstructionism. Most of us realize and agree today that the pressing problems of poverty and destitution in our country and in our state can only be effectively solved by ensuring at least a full decade of uninterrupted economic and inclusive growth of 9%. And therefore, it's in our interest to shape a common minimum economic agenda that ensures this growth regardless of the other political agendas of conflicts that arise in our democracy. FICCI believes that the same broad ideas are relevant in our state of Karnataka. Given that the polity of Karnataka also is fracturing around 3 established political parties and at least 2 new ones, a coalition-type scenario is in the realm of real possibilities again in the future. It is safe to say that dissatisfaction with the current direction of political governance is quite high amongst us citizens who elect the political parties. An example let me share with you is that almost 60% of people who were recently polled by a Kannada television channel wanted the governor's rule to continue instead of a popular government. There is clearly something wrong with this picture, with the greatest respect to the governor. The demographics of our state, as in our country, is pointing to a younger and a more impatient population that is increasingly unforgiving and impatient to the old style of politics. People want solutions today to today's problems and are not prepared to be silent and wait. In a nutshell, let me give you my assessment of where we are at as a state and as a city. And a more detailed presentation on this will be made by Dr. Mitra later on. Number 1, for a state that prided itself in solid growth and social indicators for the best part of 4 decades after independence, relative to its peers at least, our performance in recent years has been very disappointing. Growth in Karnataka has tapered off and stalled almost over the last 4 to 5 years. 2, the economy has been allowed to and has become dangerously unidimensional and over-dependent on IT and offshoring, and is very vulnerable currently going forward to the global trends in this sector. 3, the growth and economic progress has not been inclusive, with a large part of the state's population and economy affected as a consequence of the agricultural economy shrinking. 4, 25% of our state still lives below the poverty line, and our state is lagging behind most other developed peer group states in terms of social indicators like primary education and health, etc. As I mentioned earlier, The next point, the demographics show that the population is getting younger, more impatient with the slow pace of change in governance. 6, Bengaluru, our proud capital city and the gateway to our state of Karnataka, has progressively and surely gone into a slow spiral decay from being an overcrowded town to one that represents full-blown urban chaos. Despite the fact that this city alone contributes last year 11,500 crores in income tax revenues to the center. And lastly, the urban poor are almost being completely left out of the equation of growth and the planning process, and to a large extent are being tended only by NGOs and other concerned non-government organizations. Let me share something that the finance minister recently said in Parliament, responding to me in a debate. He made 2 important points. He said that the money is not the issue that is causing us to fall behind on areas like poverty, education, and health. He, on record in Parliament, said it was malgovernance by the states in terms of delivery of various programs and funds. On another occasion during the Karnataka budget debate, when I asked for a special status for Bangalore and more funding for our city, he asked a very pointed question. How will the city use this extra fund? Will the existing delivery mechanisms within the city handle this? These are both the kinds of issues that citizens of Karnataka and Bangalore have to work on to get the answers from the people who wish to govern us. Given that most of us are unhappy with the way things are going and want change, we believe at FICCI that the first step is to define the agenda for our political leadership. I am a believer that in a democracy like ours, change can come about in the lives of our citizens only if there's a change in the hearts and minds of our political leadership. It is FICCI's endeavor to work with the media, RWAs, citizens, and citizen organizations to target this change in the hearts and minds of our political leadership of all parties and create an agenda, which is the agenda that I call the minimum economic agenda for the citizens of Karnataka. So what is this minimum economic agenda? At FICCI, we've come up with this agenda, and we believe it starts with 2 fundamental objectives, which are very achievable and which we must insist on. Number 1, Karnataka should be a fully developed state by 2015, with most of the progress being made in the next 5 years. 2015 means 1.5 terms of governance. This is very doable. Number 2, Karnataka should have a 10% growth for this duration of 7 years, which will take us from a $45 billion economy to a $150 billion economy of 6 lakh crores by 2015. To achieve this goal, political parties and leaderships must be made to agree on the following 5-point agenda. Number 1, diversify and broad-base the economy and focus on other areas to develop and create the catalyst for investments in these new areas. Number 2, revive the agricultural economy. Number 3, improve the economic governance, efficiency of government spending in targeting the rural and the urban poor. Number 4, revamp the institutions that deal with government delivery of services. And number 5, develop Bengaluru, the gateway of Karnataka, into a truly modern city with a new governance model that will create an institutional space for RWAs and do the same for other tier 2 cities as well. There are many cynics to this kind of an approach, but we have deliberately and consciously focused on and suggested these building block issues because we believe that if we can get acceptance by 1 or 2 political parties on these fundamental sets of issues and principles, then the micro solutions will automatically evolve. Essentially, we believe where there is a will, there will be a way, and our objective is to create that political will around these building block issues. Our early engagements with the political leadership of various parties and thinking people within the parties have been very positive. The idea is that after today, there will be further momentum, driven largely by all of you, civil society and media, to which FICCI can be a facilitator and can provide logistical support. To end, let me thank you all for your attention, and I look forward to your active participation in shaping the agenda for our state and city over the next 45 days. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.